Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Shantia here. Welcome back to the Heal, Feel, Reveal series. In today's episode, we are going to talk about self-care and how self-care is a form of valuing your feminine life force. When you take time to create a self-care routine, that is you valuing and recharging your feminine life force so you have the energy to give back. What does it help us do? If we recharge, why should we implement a better, a healthier, a much more indulgent self-care routine? We're going to talk about some practical tips and the things that we can focus on that will help us. Every lesson I do self-inquiry, talking about, okay, what can we do better? And then we're also going to talk about my experience with it. And I'll give you guys my personal tips into how I use self-care in my day-to-day life. So if you're new to the Heal, Feel, Reveal series, or if you're just new to my channel in general, I dedicate it to helping women live in a way that feels the most natural, which is why we practice self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is a way for you to ask yourself those questions, because I can't tell you what to desire. You already have something you're more aligned with. Your heart already knows. What these videos are here for you to do is just get clarity about what it is you want. Bringing in, taking that inner work and taking that outer work, bringing them together and taking more action and creating that life for you that you've always desired. I would also recommend you to check out my Monday motivational videos where I do shorter snippets of life advice. They're bite-sized pieces of life advice, just like I do in these Heal, Feel, and Reveal videos. Okay, so let's go ahead and start talking about why self-care is so important. If you've watched my lesson on how to step into your power as a woman, your feminine power, your feminine life force, then you understand why feminine energy is so important to recharge on and why you need to use it. Essentially, if you are a woman or if you are someone who identifies as more feminine, you need to use that energy. You need to do your inner work. You need to dive in to understand your power. Feminine energy is a magnetic, it's an invisible, emotional, powerful feeling. It's that which we cannot see. So it's power that is invisible, but it has the ability to draw to you experiences that you want. To me, when I think about feminine energy, I think about creativity. I think about desire. This is why when women are very clear about their desire, life unfolds a lot more naturally for us. Desire is something that we often fight and we resist because we're told, okay, you can't have all that desire. You can't want what you want all the time. You need to limit yourself. We have to do that extra self-care in our day-to-day life so that we understand that being selfish in that way helps us to recharge. So women, we're naturally empathic. We are inclined to be people pleasers. We are inclined to be very community oriented. So we're always naturally drawn towards thinking about community. We're always drawn towards thinking about how the public is perceiving us. It's part of our natural state. When you do that self-care routine, when you include that into your day-to-day life and you indulge in it and you schedule time for it, everyone gets the benefit because your energy is on a high, you're recharged, you have a lot to give and offer to other people. So if you have not created a self-care routine, we're going to talk about why, all the many reasons as to why you need to do that and why you need to indulge in it. So let me go ahead and share really quick a snippet of my personal experience with self-care. I've never had an issue with self-care. not since I was a kid. I always loved to indulge in bubble baths. I always loved being by myself. I'm a natural hermit. I loved being by myself, reading books by myself, taking time to think about what I wanted. I was always more inclined to be very creative. I lived in my head. I was very much in my own fantasy world and I loved it. I loved playing dress up. Like, all of these things are feminine qualities that are beautiful to indulge in. My experience is I never had any issues with indulging in that. And as someone who was more introverted, is an introvert, and someone who has struggled with shyness and anxiety, I feel like we especially need a lot of that self-care because it helps us to reaffirm who we are before we go out into the world. Because when you set the energy, you set the boundaries, not really setting boundaries, but when you're really clear and intentional about how you live and about where your energy gets to go, people don't ask of you what you cannot give them. They only ask of you what you can offer. Self-care is very powerful. Never had any issues with it since I was a kid. So if anything, I think this is a really fun topic for me to talk about and discuss. Often we learn from our mothers. My mother was so inclined towards giving. She's very much a giver, very much helping and doing for everyone else, very community oriented. However, I always felt like when it came to her indulging in what she wanted, she struggled with that. That's probably why I am the way I am. I came out the womb like this. So it's not on accident that your kids have very differentiating opinions than you. They're here to teach you something. They're here to show you something. Maybe we're here to show each other something. So I learned from my mother's experience. I saw her do a lot for other people, but I was always very inclined towards being in my own world as well. As I grew up and saw her and saw how much she did for people, I decided that I was going to focus my energy more inward in giving to myself. I think she's incredible for her generosity, and that's something that I love learning from her. So let's go ahead and start with some self-inquiry. What is your current state of self-care? What is your current self-care routine? And I always encourage you to take out a notebook. Every one of my lessons, take out a notebook and write down the answer to these questions. Pause the video if you have to. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe to support. Hit that bell notification for any notifications of whenever I post these videos. I usually do one a week. I do one Monday motivation a week as well. My last question to you would be, how are you recharging your valuable energy? Because feminine energy is valuable. Your feminine life force is valuable. Just because you can't go out and you don't have this like strong force of masculine energy, you might have a lot of masculine energy, who knows? The thing is, the reason why leaning on masculine energy doesn't work well for us is because it burns us out. Because you can't really change biology. You can try, but you can't really change like the very core of your being. Let me just say that, because to some degree, science has proven that you can change a lot of things. However, if you have a lot of feminine energy, you want to use that to your advantage because it's just so much more natural for you to use that versus using your masculine energy of doing. You're going to drain yourself. That's why the hustle bustle lifestyle does not really apply. It's not ideal for most women. So how are you recharging your valuable feminine life force energy? Now I'm going to share some practical tips around self-care. The self-inquiry already tapped into this, but I want you to make a clear list of all the things you enjoy when it comes to your self-care routine. Self-care, let's go ahead and define this. Self-care to me is something that I feel like it really recharges you. It gives you a renewal of energy, a revitalization of energy. It returns that energy to you so you're not drained and you're not depleted. It's an activity or activities you get to do by yourself that give you a huge sense of renewal. So make a list of all the things that you like to do so that on a day where you feel like you have some free time or on a day where you feel like you need to do something, pull something out. I've gotten used to understanding like I like baths. I like making these videos. These feel really self-indulgent. It's not necessarily self-care, but it feels really self-indulgent, and I like that. I love taking my time getting ready, and then I'll get more into detail about some of the things I do as well. My second tip is to schedule time. So sometimes this is an absolute necessity, I think, for busy moms. You know, you're out there being mom, and you're out there doing a lot of amazing things. You're out there working like 3 jobs, being mom. Maybe you're doing your career, and maybe you're involved in some kind of organization. Make sure you schedule time into self-care routine. And even if you don't do it physically through a planner, which I do like writing things down, I always take mental notes of self-care. So I know, let's say I wake up and I'm extra tired that day, I just take a note, go to sleep early, take a bath, rest, read a book. I make a mental note to save 15 minutes or an hour for an activity for me to do just by myself. The reason why you always want to make a mental note or you want to schedule that time for your self-care is because energetically things are going to open up. So I've noticed that when I schedule things and when I intentionally put out that desire that I want to have the time to rest or do something, it frees up. Let's say I wake up and I'm not feeling the most energetic. I'll be very honest with that. I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling the most energetic. It'd be great if I could find some time or a period to just rest and reprieve. And somehow my calendar will clear up. Something will get canceled. The universe is magical in that sense, where it will clear up time for you if you need it. This is why I always say get clear about what you want, because what you want, you can have what you want. You need to get out of your own way of thinking that you can't have it. So if you just set that habit that I can be selfish and indulge in my self-care routine so I have that energy to give back to the world and be and do and live, then that time is going to free up. It's going to happen for you. Either the money or the opportunity is going to come towards you for you to be able to do that. If you assume that you don't have time, you won't have time. The next tip I want to share is soak it up. When I take a bath, I don't just take a bath. I will light some candles, I'll put some music on, I'll make sure the lighting is right. I will set it all up so it feels like an entire experience for me, an indulgent experience. Keyword, indulgent, right? That's our word of the day today. So if you can find a way to indulge into your self-care routine, you know, don't just go and read a book. Find a really comfortable place that you love, or maybe create a space in your home where you can just go read quietly. It's beautiful, it's perfect, that's all you need. Set that space. When I decided to go back to meditating consistently, I had to set up a space for my meditation so that I set that intention. Not only that, I made sure to sit in it, and I made sure, okay, this feels comfortable, and it does. Now I feel excited to meditate versus, okay, should I meditate in the chair, in the bed? I realized I had to create a space because I wasn't staying consistent with my schedule. And then my last tip is to leave space for spontaneity. Leave space for spontaneity. So perhaps you might want to do something. Let's say you want to read a book, but then you decide, oh, actually I want to go for a walk. And that ends up being so much more fulfilling for you. Leave space for spontaneity to happen in your life. Leave space for things to kind of open up and free up, and the universe to show you ways to relax, for you to dial down. You never know. And I think spontaneity is probably one of the best ways to enjoy self-care. I don't strictly plan out my self-care routine. I'll just say I want time to do something today that feels good. Or maybe I'm like, okay, I want to go dress up, but then I ended up doing something else. Just make sure you're intentional about it, because self-care is what fills up your cup. It's one of the ways that you can fill up your cup. So some of the ways that I specifically like to use through my self-care routine is, yes, taking a bath. We've talked about that. Reading a book can be really nice. Sleep. I need at least 7 to 8 hours. I can function. I don't function well off of less than 7 to 8 hours of rest. So ideally, I need 7 to 8 hours to be crystal clear. I need to take out my contacts after a certain amount of time. That's part of self-care. I like to indulge in a really good skincare routine. I've always loved skincare, but it's just really calming. I'll literally just stand in front of the mirror for 10 minutes just massaging my face because of how soothing it is. And also, it's a way for you to connect to your body. So a lot of these self-care routines probably involve the body, putting lotion on, painting your nails, all of these. There's so many different ways for you to just feel good and enjoy just being a woman and being feminine. I like to take my time getting ready, period. I just do. I've enjoyed putting together my outfits, makeup, fashion. It's just fun. I went through a rebellious phase where I'm like, no, I shouldn't be doing that. I shouldn't be taking all this time to put on makeup and all this, who cares? Minimalistic is best. Then I realized there is something to it. So that's kind of the point of this video, is there's more to it than you think. It seems simple and it seems not a priority, but I'm telling you, and I'm making this video because this needs to be a high priority. It has to be at the top of your list. It has to be at the top of your list. A lot of people don't see self-care as a high priority. It is a high priority. It's one of the most important priorities. So if you allow yourself to create it and see it as a priority, see what happens. Give it some time and see if you add some more into your self-care routine, what happens? What's the result? What unfolds? Did you have more energy? Did you feel a lot more replenished? You feel a lot more excited, relaxed? Going for a walk, watching a good movie. To me, anything that is indulgent, where it's just for you. It's an activity you get to do for you. Sometimes I like spending time with my family and I feel the most rested, or I like sleeping at my parents because when I'm here, sometimes I have all of these ideas running around in my head and there's so much I'm thinking I have to do. Whereas when I'm at my parents, I feel like I'm on an island and All I have to do, my only options is to eat, sleep, and enjoy family, and then hopefully clean up after myself. But those are my only activities to indulge in and do. And I like that. It feels like a vacation for me, for my own home, ironically. Beauty is something I think we often see as superficial, but there is something to that. Beauty is one of those things that women have very naturally, we radiate naturally. It's what we do very well. What are men always painting? What have they always painted through history? Women. Because women are the muse. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. It's like a complex flower structure or crystal structure. They're built so beautifully. They're put together and they're woven so beautifully together. So appreciate your beauty. Appreciate your beauty. That is your natural radiance. Take the time, stop by the store, pick up some lipstick, pick up some nail polish, pick up something that just makes you feel good. I love to do this every so often. I like to get nail polish or lipstick or hair product or clothes, just something where it's like that one little thing, it's for me and it's just something I get to enjoy. So do not forget to do that. That is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave a comment down below if you'd like to comment, like, subscribe to support the channel. Hit that bell notification for any time these videos come up. Thank you for watching this video of the Heal, Feel, and Reveal series. Check out my website. Check out my Monday motivational videos. I'll see you guys next week with another lesson. Bye.